This is how you know your fish are happy, when it's only been a week and your angelfish have spawned. In a tank that I said I was not going to put fish in, I have put fish in. We've moved these bad boys into a tank of their own, so now they're going to pump out some eggs for us, hopefully. So they're pretty much ready to take into the shop maybe next week, if not the week after. And the second you move them into a bigger tank, they just start growing like crazy. We just dropped some baby brine shrimp in for this tank, and I thought I'd just stop and show you guys. I am really happy with the albino red tuxedos. I haven't shown these guys off for a while, and they have been going on and off well. So they're really pumping out some babies at the moment, as you can see. I keep only giving males away when I sell them, but I'm starting to build up quite a colony of females here. So once it gets going, we are definitely going to be mass producing the albino red tuxedo, because I think the male looks quite a nice color. Bit of a mess this tank, but it'll do. And the females actually still look quite nice. So this, I'm trying to find the big girl. This one down here on the bottom, she's actually the original, the very original that has basically created everything here, plus whatever I've sold. So not a huge amount, but I've been keeping all the females and just working on making sure my strain's a nice color. And unfortunately, you know, ones that come out and they don't have the baby, like the babies that are born, you give them a while, and unfortunately you see the ones that don't get the red head on them. So I don't want them staying and growing up in this tank, because that's just going to ruin the strain that I've got. So they don't get killed or anything like that. I don't cull them or anything. I just take them out of this tank and put them into what I call my hodgepodge guppy pond. So it's basically a pond filled of fancy tail guppies, and we basically just throw what we can't use out of here into that tank. And basically someone's getting a guppy. Once it gets sold, someone's going to get a guppy that might still have the red tuxedo gene in it, even though it doesn't show it. I just can't risk trying to find that out myself, because if I do, it could ruin this entire batch that I've got going. So I won't stay on it too long. I just thought I'd stop and appreciate these guys, because an update, they have been doing really well lately. And I know it's just guppies and a lot of people don't like guppies, but at the end of the day, can't beat that color on a guppy that's super easy to keep. So really impressive. And there's a nice male down here. So the males come in two sort of different colors. One has like the black half body, and the other one sort of has like just a lot more red. So wherever that male went, here's a young male here. They're very active. They're just eating baby brine shrimp, so they're just going off. But as you can see, like very little albino and just a lot of that nice red orange color. So that's kind of what's going on in this tank, and yeah, just a bit of an update. This is how you know your fish are happy, when it's only been a week and your angelfish have spawned. Just didn't put a slate in here for them to spawn onto. But this is amazing progress, because these guys have literally only been in here for no less than 2 weeks, or no more than 2 weeks I should say. And we've got results. So we've got our first batch of potentially red koi angels. So unfortunately we're not going to be able to save these the best. Hopefully they'll hatch them, and hopefully I'll put a slate in here for them in the future, because if they've laid once, they'll probably lay again next week or the week after. So I'm going to have to try and find a slate and put a slate in here. That way they lay on the slate, hopefully, fingers crossed, and we pull the slate out and raise them artificially, because as good a parents as these guys probably are going to be, there's a lot of factors in here in this tank alone that is going to make the success rate pretty dull. So on top of that, we've got the 4 Goyder River rainbows in here. They are going to have a field day on the baby angels, regardless of how good the parents are at protecting them. Not only that, you've got 7 Longfin bristlenose. They are going to make a meal out of them as well. And you've got the flow, and I'm not prepared to turn down the flow with all the other fish in here. So the flow alone is probably going to be the deciding factor. But it's actually looking like they've hatched, like they've spawned today. So these definitely weren't in here this morning when I came in. So I've been at work all day. I've come home and checked in my fish room, and bam, that is what is going on. So I'm going to throw this into the update, because it is an update. So moving right next door, we actually put some substrate into this tank, and we've filled it up, and we've got our nice Philippine blue angels in here. So hopefully the bigger tank will help them spawn a little bit more, but it'll also just give them a bit more room to move. And then we've also moved down in here, sorry for the reflection, our L397 plecos are down in here as well. So again, bigger area for them to grow up into, and hopefully by doing this we'll get them to spawn. Just got to trigger them, and hopefully we'll have some L397s. But again, I just gonna gloss over the substrate in the bottom of my tanks already. Just such a big difference. I'm just loving it already. It's just starting to look really nice. Like, I take a step back and got these two set up now, and like I said, we're going to get another one here, cheeky pothos going really well, and yeah, it's just going to look really well, like really nice having the tanks, 4 of these all the way along here. So that is what's going on. Bit of an update on this tank, but yeah, now we've got 2 tanks. So down in this tank, we said we weren't going to put fish in it, but we did put fish in it. There's no babies in the top half at the moment in my fry tray system, so I really wanted to move some of the black angels out of the other tank that I've got them in with the red koi angels, mainly because for some reason the red koi angels, there's a couple of bully males in there, and he just wants to, for some reason, really pick on some of the black angels, and so there's a bit of fin damage and a bit of body damage that I didn't like seeing, so I've moved them out and put them into this tank. That'll just, it's minor damage, so it'll just heal up fine by themselves, and we want to breed these guys as well, so I'm hopefully putting them in this tank here like this. There's some males and females in this batch, so hopefully they'll naturally pair off, and then we'll separate the pair and put them in a tank of their own, because that way we'll have the red koi angels breeding, the Philippine blue angels / blue zebra angels breeding, and then we'll also have the black angels breeding as well. So that'll be a nice 3 strains of angels in the fish room. And yeah, I just thought I'd quickly show you guys this tank because it is a bit of an update. But yeah, some black angels looking nice, and they'll recover up well, and we'll get them all conditioned, ready for breeding. So moving over to this tank, this is the tank that they've just come out of. There's still about 4 or 5 black angels in here. As you can see, there's a little bit of fin damage and a little bit of body damage, and I'm just really not happy about it. They've actually been so stressed at each other, they've given each other a bit of stressing. So you can see little cysts and stuff like that on there. That'll all heal up over time, there's nothing really wrong with that. But there is definitely an issue here that you need to address, and my addressing is basically taking the black angels out of here, because they are the ones that seem to be getting picked on, and hopefully that will just calm the aggression down a little bit, or it's going to make it worse, either way. But at least the black angels won't be getting picked on, because they don't seem to be picking on each other, they just seem to be getting picked on by these red koi sort of angels. So hopefully moving them out of here will do well, but these guys are getting huge, and I need to sort of just find out what I want to do with these guys, because they are getting huge. And speaking of getting huge, we have Spoon down here, the ghost knife. He is getting absolutely massive. If he comes out, hopefully we might be able to try and feed this tank and see what happens. We'll try and get him to come out. Yeah, I'll try and feed this tank. So we just dropped some flake food in. Sorry, I couldn't do it one-handed while recording, but it has brought out the ghost knife Spoon, and he is getting absolutely massive, as you can see. Such a cool fish. Haven't seen him for a while in the videos. I haven't really shown him off in a while, so he's gotten a lot bigger since the last time. And he is just an absolute guts when it comes to food. He loves pretty much anything I throw in the tank, he'll just eat. He loves frozen bloodworms. He loves your real meaty sort of foods like live blackworms. He just goes absolutely nuts for. But as you can see, he'll just pretty much go along the floor and eat up everything like that piece of flake. But yeah, really cool fish. If you guys are liking this video so far, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. It really helps the channel and shows support. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well. It means a lot to me. So we'll just keep going through the video, and this is what's going on in this tank, and we'll move on to the next tank. These guys are growing quite quickly once they are on some good food. And the second you move them into a bigger tank, they just start growing like crazy. Like, they was taking so long to grow, and now they are really starting to grow day by day. Every time I check on them, I swear they're just getting bigger and bigger. So it's always exciting, but it's starting to make me go, ooh, I need some space soon for these guys, because eventually, in probably a couple of weeks' time, these guys are going to need to come out of this tank and probably go into the tank that their older brothers and sisters are now in. So hopefully, a lot of people want Goiter River rainbows in my area, because we have a fair few Goiter River rainbows on the way very soon. So that is definitely an exciting update, It's going to be the first time I actually sell rainbow fish to a fish shop, and it just so happens to be it's the Goyder River rainbow that ends up being my first rainbow fish that I sell to a fish shop. Thought it was going to be the dwarf neon rainbow or the Pracox rainbow, but turns out it's the native Australian Goyder River rainbow fish. So very, very excited news and a nice little update on this one. So down in this tank we've got our baby Goyder River rainbows. We've got a fair few of these guys in here. We've got about 40, 50 of these guys, and they're getting quite big, so they're pretty much ready to take into the shop maybe next week, if not the week after. And hopefully they'll go really, really well because they're getting some nice colour come through on them, like this one here. And yeah, I've just been enjoying watching these guys grow out. It's been taking a while, so to get them to this size has literally been months at this point. It's been about 3 or 4 months easy. And so it is quite a journey, but it is definitely rewarding finally getting them up to this size. We've got our nice little single crimson spotted rainbow in here as well, so he won't be going to the shop of course, but just really, really nice. I did buy a bulbitis fern the other day at the shop, so it's gone in here and I've just sort of sunk it in, and it's a really, really, really cool plant. I really, really enjoy it once it gets going, and once you've had it in the tank for a while, it just becomes this really, really cool looking plant. It's a little bit slow to grow, but really cool looking plant in the long run. And then another update in here, we've put about 20, 25 Sturbe Corys in here as well, the babies. So we've got more of them up in the other tank that we've already shown you guys, but we've got about 20, 25 of them in here. So you can see them along the back there. They're all schooling up in a little herd, and they're growing out really, really well. As you can see, they're not quite ready to sell just yet. But I think putting them in a bigger tank like this and only having 25 of them instead of like 100 of them together, these guys should grow out pretty quickly, and hopefully that'll get me some ready to go into the shop. So there's also a lot of baby bristlenose in here as well. You can see them here. There's a couple just down here as well. There's a heap over here. There's some little Sturbe babies down here as well. I haven't fed these guys yet this morning, but if I drop some food in, you'll see in a second just how many there are in here. There is a lot of little baby bristlenose. I think there's something like, I put like the 2 batches in, so I think there's probably, I think around about 60 to 70 baby bristlenose in this tank as well, so it is a fair bit going on. And yeah, like I said, we've got about 20, 25 Sturbe babies as well, so that's what's going on down the bottom of the tank, and the top half is just being completely taken over by Goyder River rainbow babies. So exciting tank, and just a nice little grow out tank for all the baby fish. Quick update on the turquoise rainbows since we're on this topic of rainbows, but we've got the spawning mop in here now. So I could have just pulled it now because I saw them basically going in there this morning and doing their thing. But I could pull it, but I know that they're going to probably lay tomorrow morning and probably the morning after that. And it could be morning, could be day, but either way, these guys will probably lay a few days in a row. And I'm gonna give it like maybe a week or two, about 10 days realistically, and then I'm gonna pull them up, and with any luck, hopefully we can start spawning some nice turquoise rainbow fish, because these guys, again, I'm not giving them much justice at the moment because they look a bit dull, but once these guys get bigger, I've said it in many videos, these guys are really gonna be showstoppers. I really, really like the turquoise color in them, and they just have a really unique sort of like schooling style, and they sort of just do their own thing, but they like to be sort of tightly schooled like this in a shoal. So just an all-round really, really cool fish. I won't stop talking about rainbows. They are one of my favorite types of fish, and a lot more people really, really should get into them. Alright, down in this tank we've got our 6 angels left, and they're growing out nicely. But we also moved our big chunky adult Sturbe Corys, who are very camera shy. But they actually just laid eggs this morning. You can sort of see on the glass there's some eggs that are still sort of residue of them. They didn't survive. I wasn't here to save the eggs, so between themselves and the bristlenose and the angels, yeah, the eggs have no chance. So Corydoras in here loving life. They've got a nice big tank now to go in, and yeah, they're just growing out really well. So just a quick little update on these guys, but mainly just move the Sturbe Corys into this tank, and once I'm ready to breed them again, I can just put them back in a 2-foot tank and breed them. We've moved these bad boys into a tank of their own, so now they're going to pump out some eggs for us hopefully. But basically, I told you guys in the last video I was going to completely switch the normal albino Corys with the Longfin Corys, so that they've now got all this tank to themselves. They're going to get conditioned up, and we're going to keep making more baby Longfin Sturbe, not Sturbe Corydoras. They are albino Longfin Corys. Sorry about that. I know I keep saying albino Longfin Sturbes, and that would be amazing if I saw that, but these are just normal albino Longfin Corydoras. So that is what's going on in this tank. They are being moved. They're going to get conditioned, and hopefully we're going to get a ton of eggs from them. Right, over in here we've moved our Longfin albino Corydoras, and we've moved our Longfin albino bristlenose in here as well. So this is now the Longfin baby tank, and they're growing up well together. The Longfin Corydoras are doing really, really well. Can't really tell that they're Longfins just yet, but in a few more weeks, hopefully we should be able to see the Longfins starting to emerge. I feel like they've definitely got longer tails at the moment than the Sturbe babies did, so at this age, so that's definitely a hopeful sign. And we've got the Longfin bristlenose in here in the albino form as well. So they're growing up really, really well. There's about 30 of them in here, and I think there's about 20 to 25 of the Longfin albino Corys in here as well. So quick little update on this tank. We're not going to spend too long on it, but yeah, that's just kind of what's going on in this one. Alright, so this is the tank that the two Blue Angels and the L397s came out of. Now I'm actually going to start a new little project of mine, because I really want that more sustainable source of income with selling the fish. And so guppies are really going to be that sweet spot, because everyone buys guppies, and most fish shops go through guppies quite quickly and in large quantities as well. So what we've got here is a Japanese double sword guppy, and he's a male, quite a huge male too for the size of him. And then we've also got, I didn't get any females of this type. There wasn't any in the shop when I bought these batch. So what I've done is I've grabbed one of my hodgepodge guppies, and I've picked the one with the most blue on all over up. Sorry for the reflection again. But yeah, I've picked the most blue. Now technically, really the ratio for breeding guppies is you kind of want, and it's kind of just like an all-round ratio, but you kind of want 1 male to 3 females, and that just allows the females to be having a bit of a break from the male sort of harassing her the whole time. So you have 3 and it sort of separates the load a little bit. So this is not the most ideal way of breeding, but it is the only female guppy I've got that actually has a lot of blue in her tail or on that top fin. So what I'm hoping to get out of this is the double sword tail to come through in the babies, and hopefully we can make some females that have the sword tail like this as well. I'm not sure if that's how it works, so let me know in the comments down below if that's how this type of strain works in the guppies, because I've never done the double sword tail before. But hopefully with any luck this will come through, and instead of that like pastel blue we'll get a deeper blue come through. But time will tell, and hopefully he will get her pregnant, and we'll get some babies out of her in the next maybe couple of weeks to a month, and we'll find out after that what happens. So that's a quick little update on this tank. A lot of you are probably like, whoa, where'd this tank just come from? This tank I've had since I've had this tank over here. This is actually the same size tank and everything like that. This was supposed to be set up here, but the week that I bought these two size tanks to set these two up, my 6-foot tank decided to bust a leak. So I had to use one of these tanks as like a holding tank for all the fish, and basically it's been like that ever since. So I thought, well, the 6-foot tank still hasn't been fixed yet because I still yet to get it down the stairs, and so I might as well bring this tank in here and set it up. And so these guys have been living in here outside in another room, and I thought I'd bring them into the fish room. You've got a fair few fish in here, so we've got some Congo tetras, we've got some filament barbs, we've got some Longfin black widow tetras, we've got some crimson spot rainbows, and we got our Angelfish and Susan. So everyone is loving life in this tank. Everyone's just going to get a bit more food and everything like that now that they're in the fish room. I can sort of just monitor everyone a bit better. But yeah, just thought I'd show you guys this tank as well. This rack is almost finished. We've just got one more tank that I need to get made custom to fit in this spot here. This will be the 3 foot size, so the same size one of these will fit in next to it, and then this entire rack will be completely finished. So we'll be very happy with that once all these tanks are completely finished on here. And basically guys, it's just going to be basically grow out tanks. So we're going to have gravel in here and substrate. We're going to put substrate and everything in here as well. Once we get another tank for here, we're going to have substrate and stuff like that in here. But the layout is going to be like very much the same, like maybe like one piece of wood at the back, and the rest of it is going to be all like very, very open, because these are planning on being my big grow out tanks. Because these are like some of the biggest tanks I have in the fish room. They're, like I said, 2 feet deep by 3 foot wide by 1.5 foot tall. They can hold a fair bit of fish and can hold a fair bit of water. So these are definitely going to be the 3 big grow out tanks in the future. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm going to pretty much wrap it up here. Not too much more has gone and been updated in the fish room just yet. There is a lot more to come. We've got a lot more fish we want to breed. We've got all these guys now as well. But if you guys like this video at all throughout the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up button. It really means a lot to me, and it really helps the channel out heaps. So if you guys want to go do that, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed already, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. That also helps a huge amount. So like always guys, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.